I never thought the words, "I love you," could shatter a life like a brick through a windshield. But there I was, staring at Isaiah's face, twisted in rage, betrayal, and something deeper, something like terror, as he spat them back at me like venom. "You're disgusting. Elijah. This. Us. It's all been a lie." His voice cracked on the last word, and in that split second, I saw the boy he'd buried under layers of hate, the one who'd lost his mom to cancer when we were kids in that same South Side neighborhood, the one who'd whispered secrets to me over late-night beers that no one else knew. But now, with our apartment looking like a war zone, shattered lamp on the floor, my duffel half-packed, he was slamming the door on everything we'd built, and I was left wondering if I'd just turned my best friend into the monster he always feared becoming. The rain hammered the windows of our cramped two-bedroom in Wicker Park like it was trying to drown out the lie we'd both been living. It was a Thursday in late October, the kind of Chicago autumn where the wind off Lake Michigan bites right through your jacket. And I'd just come home from my shift at the coffee shop, soaked to the bone, smelling like espresso and regret. Isaiah was sprawled on the couch we'd salvaged from a curbside in Logan Square, his size 13 boots propped on the milk crate we called a coffee table, scrolling through his phone with that perpetual scowl that made him look like he was auditioning for a mobster flick. He was straight as an arrow, or so he claimed, fresh out of community college with a welding cert he barely used, picking up odd jobs at construction sites while dreaming of flipping houses in the suburbs someday. Me? I was the artsy queer kid from the block, 24, slinging lattes by day and sketching graphic novels by night, hiding my sketches under the bed like they were contraband. We'd been roommates for 8 months, thrown together by a Craigslist ad and a mutual desperation to escape our folks' basements. Isaiah's dad was a retired cop, all beer gut and Fox News rants about the gays ruining the family, and mine was a single mom who'd worked double shifts at the hospital until her heart gave out 2 years back. We grew up 3 blocks apart on the south side, back when stoplights flickered like they were on their last breath, and we played Little League together, me catching pop flies, him smashing home runs with that cocky grin. But high school split us. I came out at 16, got the supportive nods from teachers, but the whispers from the stands. He dove headfirst into the bro code. Football jerseys and tailgates. Dating cheerleaders who looked like they stepped out of a Bud Light commercial. By the time we reconnected at a block party last summer, grease dripping from ribs and old R&B blasting from a boombox, it felt like fate, or maybe just the universe's cruel joke. That night, as I kicked off my sneakers in the hall, Isaiah glanced up, his dark eyes narrowing under that messy black hair he never bothered to cut. "You look like a drowned rat." Eli. Rough day with the rainbow crowd. It was his go-to jab, laced with that half-smirk that said he was kidding. But we both knew he wasn't entirely. I'd heard the stories from his crew at the sites, how he'd laugh along when they ragged on the ferry baristas in Boys Town, how he'd once told a buddy that living with me was training for the apocalypse, zombies or queers. Take your pick. It stung. Sure, but I swallowed it like bitter coffee. Because beneath the barbs, there was Isaiah, the guy who'd helped me bury my mom without a word, who'd shown up at her funeral in a suit 2 sizes too small, his hand heavy on my shoulder like an anchor. I forced a laugh, hanging my jacket on the hook by the door. Yeah, well, at least I don't come home smelling like sawdust and regret. "What's for dinner, Your Highness? Or are we ordering from that Thai place again?" He grunted, tossing his phone aside and hauling himself up, all 6'3" of him unfolding like a switchblade. Isaiah had that effortless build, broad shoulders from hauling rebar, arms inked with a tribal sleeve he'd gotten on a dare in high school. But it was his eyes that got me every time, deep brown, almost black, holding storms he never let break. We ordered pad thai and spring rolls, splitting the bill like always. and cracked open a six-pack of Goose Island while the delivery guy braved the downpour. Conversation flowed easy at first, him bitching about his foreman, a red-faced bully named Rocco who rode him for every late nail, me venting about the Karens who demanded oat milk like it was the elixir of life. But then, as the rain softened to a patter, Isaiah got quiet, staring at the TV, flickering some Bulls rerun. "You ever think about getting out of this shithole?" he asked suddenly, voice low. "Like, really out. Suburbs. White picket fence. The whole American dream." I nodded, but my chest tightened. For him, that dream was straight-edged. Wife. Kids. Grill smoke on Sundays. For me, it was a mirage, shimmering just out of reach. That's when it started, the first crack in the facade. He turned to me, beer bottle dangling from his fingers, and said, "Eli, man, you think I make a good dad?" The question hung there, vulnerable, like he'd peeled back a layer of that tough guy armor. I froze, pad thai halfway to my mouth, because in his eyes, I saw the ghost of his own father, distant, disappointed, the man who'd called him a pussy for crying at his mom's funeral. "Yeah," I said softly, setting my fork down. "You be the kind who shows up, builds forts in the backyard, teaches him how to throw a curveball." He smiled then, a real one, rare as a Cubs pennant in enemy territory, and clinked his bottle against mine. To forts and curveballs, but as the night wore on, buzzed and boneless on the couch, he shifted closer, innocent, or so I told myself, his thigh pressing against mine under the blanket we'd thrown over our laps against the chill. The TV droned on, but I could feel the heat of him, the faint scent of his Irish Spring soap cutting through the takeout steam. My heart hammered, traitorous, and when he slung an arm around my shoulders in a bro hug, pulling me in a laugh at some dumb play, I leaned into it. Just a second too long. He pulled back, I searching mine, and for a heartbeat, the air crackled. Then he laughed it off, standing abruptly. "Night, weirdo. Don't hog the bathroom tomorrow." He lumbered to his room, door clicking shut, leaving me with a pulse like a freight train and a guilt that tasted like ash. The next morning, I woke to the smell of bacon, Isaiah's half-assed apology for whatever invisible line we'd towed. He was at the stove in his boxers and a faded White Sox tee, flipping strips with a spatula like he was born to it. "Figured you'd need grease after last night," he said, sliding a plate my way. We ate in companionable silence, the radio humming old-school hip-hop, Common, Kanye back when he was just Chi-Town's golden boy. But under the normalcy, something had shifted. He kept glancing at me, like he was piecing together a puzzle with a missing edge. Work dragged that day, the shop packed with hipsters nursing hangovers and laptops. But my mind was elsewhere, replaying that arm around my shoulder, the way his laugh rumbled through me. By evening, I was home first, sketching furiously, a rough outline of two figures on a rooftop, blurred faces, one reaching for the other. Isaiah burst in later, mudcake from sight delay, cursing the weather gods. "Eli, you won't believe this shit. Rocco docked me $20 for attitude." Attitude, like he's Gandhi on a good day. He stripped off his hoodie, tossing it over a chair, and paced the living room like a caged wolf. I set my sketch pad aside, nodding. "Screw him. You're better than that gig, anyway." He stopped, looking at me, really looking, and something in his face crumpled. What if I'm not? What if this is it? Welding beams, crashing here, watching everyone else get their shit together. He sank onto the couch, head in hands, and without thinking, I sat beside him, close enough that our knees knocked. "Hey," I said, voice steady. "You're Isaiah freaking Rivera. You flipped that abandoned lot on 47th into a community garden when we were 16. Remember? Old ladies still bring you tomatoes. He chuckled, low and broken, and looked up, eyes shiny. Yeah, tomatoes. Then, quieter, thanks. Man. 4. This roommate thing. It's the only thing that feels solid. In that moment, with the city lights flickering through the blinds like distant stars, I made a decision. Not to push, not to confess, just to stay. To chip away at the walls he'd built. One shared beer, one late night talk at a time. Little did I know, those chips would become cracks, and cracks would become a chasm. And at the bottom, a fortune neither of us saw coming, wrapped in secrets that would tear us both apart. The weeks blurred into a rhythm, mornings of burnt toast and trash talk, evenings of Netflix binges and borrowed hoodies. Isaiah started opening up more stories about his mom, how she'd sneak him empanadas after his dad passed out drunk, how she died holding his hand, whispering, "Be brave." Me, Joe. He'd get this faraway look, and I'd listen, heart aching, because bravery for him meant burying anything that didn't fit the script. One night, after a Bulls loss that had him raging at the refs, he cracked open a bottle of tequila we'd bought on a whim. To hell with it, he said, pouring shots. Truth or dare. Eli. Like when we were kids. I laughed, but my stomach flipped. You're on. Truth's first. His worst hookup, a fumbling disaster with his high school girlfriend in the back of his dad's Chevy. My biggest fear, losing the last piece of family I had, which was him, though I didn't say it. Then dares, stupid stuff, like chugging hot sauce or texting an ex, "I miss your dog." But when it was my turn again, eyes locked over the salt-rimmed glasses, I dared him, "Tell me something you've never told anyone." He hesitated, tequila flushing his cheeks, then leaned in. Sometimes, I wonder what it'd be like. Not the straight and narrow crap. Just free. The word hung between us. Electric. I didn't push. Instead, I raised my glass. To free. He clinked, but his hand trembled. That night, as he crashed on the couch, snoring softly, I covered him with a blanket and whispered to the dark, "I'm here, but freedom has a price." And ours was coming due. It started small, him catching me at a pride sticker on my laptop, his jaw tightening before he shrugged it off. Then bigger, a coworker of mine, Jamie, swung by with flyers for a queer art show, and Isaiah's laugh turned sharp. Art show? What? Finger painting rainbows? Jamie left awkward. And later, alone, Isaiah cornered me in the kitchen. "You gotta warn a guy. Eli, I don't need that shit in my space." His voice was steel, but his eyes pleaded, "Don't make me choose." "I live here too," I shot back, heat rising. "And it's not shit. It's me." He recoiled like I'd slapped him, muttering, "Whatever. Man. Just keep it out there." The silence after was thicker than the humidity. And for days, we tiptoed around each other, polite nods, separate groceries. It hurt. A dull ache like a bruise you can't see. But I doubled down on the plan, subtle bridges, not walls. I left books on the counter, Frank Ocean lyrics, essays on toxic masculinity from the Atlantic. He read them. I knew, because they'd migrate to his nightstand. Then came the storm, literal and not. A nor'easter dumped 6 inches overnight, shutting down the L and stranding us. Power flickered. Fridge hummed its last, and we lit candles scavenged from a drawer. Shadows dancing on the walls like ghosts at a seance. "Remember that blizzard in '09? Isaiah said, hunkered on the floor with a deck of cards. "We built that igloo in your backyard. Thought we were kings." I smiled, dealing gin rummy. We were. until your dad dragged you home for acting soft. He winced, laying down a run. Yeah, soft. That's what he always said. The game slowed, card forgotten, and he stared into the flame. Eli, you ever feel like you're faking it? Like the world's waiting for you to slip? My breath caught. This was it, the crack widening. Every day, I admitted. But faking gets tiring. What if you just let go? He met my gaze, the candlelight carving hollows in his cheeks. And for the first time, I saw not anger, but hunger. A question forming on his lips. The power surged back on with a hum. TV blaring infomercials. And the moment shattered. But it lingered. A seed planted in frozen soil. Little did I know, it would bloom into thorns that drew blood. Secrets that poisoned the roots. And a windfall that forced us both to face the man in the mirror. November crept in like a thief, stealing the last of the leaves and leaving us with bare branches scraping the sky. Thanksgiving loomed, that obligatory American ritual of turkey and tension, and Isaiah was dreading it more than a root canal. His dad had invited him to the old house in Englewood, same sagging porch, same recliner stained with decades of spills, but the invite came with a barb. Bring a girl this time. Son, can't keep showing up solo. I overheard him on the phone in his room, voice tight as he muttered, Yeah, Dad. I'll see. When he emerged, face like thunder, I was at the table, outlining panels for my latest comic, a story about two outlaws on the run, hearts as tangled as their wanted posters. He dropped into the chair opposite, rubbing his temples. Family's a bitch. Huh, I nodded, capping my pen. Want backup? Mom's gone, but I make a mean green bean casserole. He snorted, but his eyes softened. Nah, you just scandalize the ants with your. You know, the word hung unsaid, gayness, like it was a disease he could catch. I bit back the retort, opting for deflection. Fine, but if you need an eject button, text turkey coma, and I'll fake an emergency. That earned a grin, and just like that, the ice thawed. We spent the weekend prepping his escape pod, ironing a button down from Goodwill, practicing small talk in the mirror like actors in a bad indie flick. So, Dad, how's the pension treating you? He'd say, all earnest brows. And I'd critique, less robot, more charm. By Sunday night, he was packing a cooler with leftovers we'd mocked up, cold cuts, and Stouffer's mac to dodge the full feast, and I walked him to the L station, wind whipping our scarves. You'll kill it, I said, punching his arm. He lingered, hands shoved deep in his pockets. Eli, thanks. For real. Then, impulsive, he pulled me into a hug, fierce, backslapping, but his breath hitched against my neck. Don't do anything stupid while I'm gone. The train rattled away, taillights fading into the sodium glow, and I walked home alone, the hug replaying like a loop in my head. Stupid. That's what it was. But hope's a stubborn weed, cracking concrete. He returned late Monday, reeking of cigar smoke and regret, crashing through the door with a garbage bag of Tupperware. Mission aborted, he announced, kicking off boots. Aunt Rosa cornered me about grandkids. Dad started in on Obama conspiracies, and I bailed after pie. I laughed, heating leftovers, but his eyes were haunted, red-rimmed, like he'd been fighting ghosts on the red line. Over microwave burritos, he unloaded how his dad had pulled him aside, beer in hand, and said, You're 25, Isaiah. Time to man up. No more of this lone wolf bullshit. The words landed like punches, and Isaiah mimicked the gravelly tone with bitter accuracy. Sounds like classic Rivera wisdom, I said lightly, but inside, I seethed for the boy who'd once built kites with his mom, now shackled to a script of stoicism. What did you say back? He shrugged, poking at his food. Nothing. Just nodded. What else are you gonna do? Anger flared in me then. Hot and unbidden. Fight. Maybe? Tell him you're more than his damn checklist. He slammed his fork down, chair scraping. Easy for you to say. Eli, you chose your path, parades and pride flags. Me? This is survival. You think I want to end up like he cut off? Jaw clenched, and the room spun silent. Like who? I pressed, voice low. He stood, towering, but his shoulders slumped. Like you. Alone. Hated. The confession slipped out, raw as an open wound, and he bolted to his room, door slamming like a gunshot. I sat there, burrito congealing, heart pounding. Hated. By whom? His dad? The world? Or himself? The fallout lasted days, a cold war of slammed cabinets and averted eyes. I threw myself into work, sketching feverishly, outlaws now with faces like ours. One scar by secrets, the other reaching through the bars. Isaiah picked up overtime, coming home late with grease under his nails and silence on his lips. But cracks show in the quiet hours. One midnight, I found him in the living room, TV blue light painting his face, an old photo album open on his lap, his mom's, salvaged from the attic. She would have liked you, he said without looking up. Said I needed friends who saw through the bullshit. I sat beside him, careful, like approaching a skittish dog. She sounds like she knew her shit. He flipped a page, yellowed snapshots of them at Navy Pier. Cotton candy smiles. Cancer took her quick. Dad said it was God's will or some crap. I was 14. Started fighting everything after that. Kids at school, refs on the field. Thought anger kept the hurt out. His voice cracked, and he traced her face with a callous thumb. But it just builds walls. In that glow, with the city humming beyond the glass. I risked it. Walls keep stuff out. Yeah, but they keep you in too. He turned in, eyes locking on mine, searching, scared. Our knees brushed, and neither pulled away. What if I'm already trapped, he whispered. I swallowed, pulse roaring. Then we find the key. Together. He didn't answer, but he didn't move either. We sat like that till dawn, album between us. The first threads of something real weaving through the dark. Winter bit harder after that, snow piling curbs like grudges. Isaiah softened incrementally, leaving my favorite IPA in the fridge, asking about my comic with genuine curiosity. That outlaw, based on anyone, he'd tease. And I'd deflect with a wink, all of them are you. Tough guy. Laughter bridged the gaps. But tension simmered, especially when his phone buzzed with texts from a crew. I'd catch him reading, face hardening, then deleting with a mutter. Idiots. One Friday, after a brutal week, me spilling a full urn on a suit who tipped in pennies, him wrenching his back on a beam, he suggested shots at the local dive. The Rusty Nail. No bullshit, he said. Just us. The bar was a relic, neon Miller signs flickering over scarred wood. Jukebox crooning Springsteen. We claimed a corner booth. Whiskey's burning down easy. And talked trash about everything from the Bears choke to our high school crushes. Remember Lena Vasquez? He slurred. Leaning in. Thought she was the one. Kissed like a vacuum. I chuckled. Warmth spreading, not just the booze. Yeah, and you, mister? Heartbreaker. He grinned. But it faded. Nah. Always felt. Off. Like I was reading lines from a script. The admission hung, heavy as the smoke from the corner table. Our eyes met, and the bar noise dulled to a hum. His hand, on the table, inches from mine, fingers twitching like they wanted to close the gap. Back home, stumbling up the stairs, He slung an arm around me again, heavier this time. "You're all right, Eli." Best damn friend a guy could. He tripped, and we caught each other, faces close in the hall light, breath mingling. Time stretched, his pupils blown wide, and I swear he leaned in. Then the door buzzer blared, neighbors complaining about noise, and the spell broke. He laughed it off, key fumbling in the lock. "Close one, huh?" But it wasn't close. It was the edge of the cliff, and we both knew it. The turning point came mid-December. Holiday lights strung like nooses across the avenue. Isaiah's dad called again, this time with news. His uncle Rico, the black sheep, estranged for years, had passed in San Francisco. "Heart attack," his dad grunted over speakerphone, Isaiah's face paling as he listened. "Left a will. Lawyers calling. Probably squat." Knowing that fairy, the slur landed like a slap. And Isaiah, disconnected, staring at the wall. Rico. He was the only one who got it. Mom's brother. Dad hated him for. You know, living that way. I poured coffee. Hands steady. "What way?" He met my gaze. Defiant. "Gay. Out and proud. Sent me comics when I was a kid. X-Men. All that mutant crap. So it was about being different." The pieces clicked. Rico's influence. Buried under family scorn. He reached out last year. Wanted to meet. I ghosted him. Afraid Dad would find out. Guilt etched his features, and I sat beside him. It's not too late to honor that. Go to the reading. See what he left. He shook his head. "San Fran? With what money?" Impulsive. I blurted. "I'll spot you. Payday's Friday." He stared, then pulled me into a bear hug. "Eli, you're a lifesaver." The flight was booked on points, and 2 days later, he was gone, nervous texts pinging from the coast. City's wild. Rainbow everything. I paced our apartment, sketching Rico as a silver-haired sentinel, guarding secrets with a wink. When he returned, tanned and troubled, he had a manila envelope under his arm. Lawyer said it's complicated. Needed to look at it with me. We spread papers on the table, excerpts, asset lists. Rico had built a life, art gallery owner, quiet activist, amassing a nest egg from savvy investments. And there, in legalese black and white, a bequest to Isaiah. 200 grand. But with a clause, to my nephew, upon acceptance of self and support for those who love freely. As I did. No strings but truth. Isaiah's hands shook as he read it aloud. Voice breaking. "Truth. What the hell does that mean?" I explained gently, the subtext, the love letter from beyond. His face crumpled. He knew. About the doubts. Wanted me to choose. Rage boiled then. Not at Rico, but at the cage. "Dad'll kill me." The crew. Everything. He swept the papers off the table, storming out into the snow. I followed, calling his name, but he vanished into the whiteout. Hours later, he texted, "At the pier." "Cool, mate." I found him on the rocks by the lake, wind howling, staring at black waves. "I can't. Eli. It's too much." I wrapped my scarf around him, arms lingering. "You don't have to alone." He turned, tears freezing on his lashes. And in that gale, he kissed me, desperate, searching, the world narrowing to salt and need. It was the spark. But fires like that, they consume. The kiss lingered like frostbite, numb and burning long after we stumbled back to the apartment, snow caking our boots, breaths ragged in the stairwell. Isaiah didn't speak, didn't need to. His hand in mine was answer enough, grip fierce as if I'd vanished like a mirage. Inside, door locked against the world. He backed me against the wall, forehead to mine, whispering, "This is insane. I'm insane." But his lips found mine again. Softer now, exploratory, like a man tasting freedom for the first time. We didn't cross lines, not yet. Not with the ghosts howling outside, but in that tangle of coats and confessions. Something irrevocable shifted. Isaiah Rivera, the homophobe who'd slung slurs like shields, was cracking open, and I was the fool diving in head first. Morning brought clarity's cruel edge. He woke first, coffee brewing with mechanical precision. Eyes averted as I shuffled in. "Robe askew." "Last night," he started, voice gravel. I nodded, pouring a mug. Epic blizzard brain. A lie, but a gentle one. He exhaled, shoulders dropping. "Yeah, brain." We ate cereal in silence, spoons clinking like accusations, until he pushed his bowl away. "Eli, that money, Rico's ghost, or whatever, it's messing with me." I listened as he unpacked it, the claws gnawing like termites, his dad's voice echoing in his skull. "Don't be like him." Betrayal simmered there. Not just Rico's quiet judgment, but Isaiah's own years of denial, now confronted by a check that demanded reckoning. "Take the time," I said. No rush, but there was. Christmas approached, family pressures mounting, and Isaiah's shifts turned brutal, home late, reeking of sweat and steel, collapsing on the couch without a word. I tiptoed around him, sketching in my room, the outlaws now lovers in hiding, their kisses shadowed by bounty hunters. One night, I found him poring over the will again, highlighter in hand, circling phrases like self-acceptance and legacy of love. "What if I say no?" he muttered. "Cash it anyway." I sat beside him. "Then you're still running." He slammed the folder shut. Running kept me safe, from Dad's fists, from a guy's calling me weak. From this. His gesture encompassed us, the charged air, the unspoken pull. Anger flared in me, unbidden. "Safe? You're 30 pounds heavier from stress eating, popping ibuprofen like candy, and lying to everyone who matters. That's not safe. Isaiah, that's a cage." He stood, looming. "And what? I just waltz out, hold your hand at the pride parade, get disowned, fired, the whole rainbow welcome." His voice rose, cracking on rainbow, and I saw the terror, not of me, but of losing the brittle empire he'd built on denial. The fight escalated, words flying like shrapnel. "You've been playing me," he accused. "All those talks, the books, turning me into your project." I reeled. "Project? I've been your friend, loving you despite the shit you threw." He froze, the L word landing like a grenade. "Loving," echoed, disbelieving. Then, quieter how long? "Truth time." "Since the block party." "Maybe before." He backed away, hand to his mouth. "God, Eli, I thought it was just brothers." But his eyes, stormy, conflicted, betrayed the lie. He'd felt it too, the shift from camaraderie to craving. He left then, grabbing keys and vanishing into the night. "I passé til trio." Phone silent, heart a war drum. When he returned at dawn, hollow-eyed, he dropped the duffel by the door. "Needs space." Crashing at TJ's. TJ, his construction buddy, the one who'd once joked about curing me with a beer bender. Panic clawed me. Isaiah. Wait, but he was out. Door clicking like a guillotine. The void swallowed days. I texted sparingly, "Coffee's on if you need it," no replies. Work blurred into numbness. Sketches turning dark, outlaws betrayed. One turning bounty hunter for a price. Whispers from mutual friends trickled in. Isaiah at bars, pounding shots with the crew, laughing too loud. Then, the gut punch, A post from TJ's girlfriend on Insta. Group shot at sports bar. Isaiah in the center. Arm around a brunette named Carla. Her hand on his thigh. Caption. Finally got our boy a date. Wingman win. My stomach lurched. Betrayal. Sharp as glass. Was this his answer? The straight script. Reclaimed? I confronted him via voicemail. Voice steady but splintering. Saw the pic. If that's what you need. Cool. But don't ghost me. Crickets. Then, a week later, a knock at midnight. He stood there, snow-dusted. Carla's lipstick smudged on his collar like war paint. Can I come in? Weary. I stepped aside. He collapsed on the couch, head in hands. It was a setup. TJ's idea. Fix the funk. I went along. Drunk. Stupid. Relief warred with rage. And the kiss. The will. All stupid too. He looked up. Eyes raw. No. That's real. Scary real. Confessions spilled then. The date of farce. His mind on me the whole time. Nightmares of Rico's face. Disappointed. His dad's latest call. Probing about settling down. I told him about the money. He flipped. Called Rico a predator. Said it's blood money. Told me to burn it. Isaiah's voice broke. But I can't. Because he's right about one thing. I'm not straight. Haven't been for months. Maybe never. The admission hung. Seismic. I knelt before him. Hands on his knees. Then what now? He pulled me up. Close. Breath mingling. I don't know. But I know I can't lose this. You. The kiss this time was deliberate, slow, deepening. Hands framing faces like fragile glass. We broke apart. Foreheads touching. We'll figure it, I whispered. Step by step. But steps falter on hidden pitfalls. New Year's Eve dawned brittle. Resolutions mocking us from every billboard. Isaiah moved back in. Tentative truce. No labels. Just exploration. Stolen touches in the kitchen. Late night talks evolving to shared beds. Bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long separated. It was tender. Profound. Him tracing my tattoos with fingertips. Me murmuring stories of my first crush. A boy at art camp who vanished after one summer. Like a ghost, I said. He nodded. I'm scared I'll ghost you too. Don't, I begged. Stay. And he did. 4 stolen weeks of bliss amid the slush. Cooking pozole from his mom's recipe. Laughing over botched attempts. Walks in Lincoln Park. Mittens hiding laced fingers. He even texted his dad a half-truth. Seeing someone. Taking it slow. The response, good. Make it a keeper. But secrets fester. Mine first, the comic. Now half-finished. With thinly veiled versions of us. I showed him one panel, our outlaws embracing under stars. He traced it, smiling. Publish it. Let him see. Emboldened, I submitted to a small press. Heart-pounding. Acceptance came via email. Glowing words, raw, resonant. Contract attached. Elation surged. I tackled him on the couch. Kisses raining. We're in. His joy mirrored mine. But shadows lurked. TJ cornered him at work. Heard you're soft on Eli. That true, Isaiah denied. Gut twisting. But the seed of doubt sprouted. Then, the real bomb, a letter from Rico's estate. Forwarded by the lawyer. Not just a clause, proof. Emails Isaiah had sent as a teen to his uncle. Tentative questions about feeling weird around guys, buried in family shame. He saved them, Isaiah said. Pale. Knew before I did. Vulnerability bonded us deeper, but pressure mounted. His dad demanded a visit, meet the girl, and Isaiah cracked. Tell him the truth, I urged. Or lose him anyway. The call happened in our kitchen. Me in the bedroom doorframe. Eavesdropping. Dad. It's not a girl. It's Eli. Silence. Then explosion. Slurs. Threats. You're no son of mine. That money? Devils do. Click. Isaiah shattered a mug. Shards flying. I knew. But it hurts like hell. I held him as sobs racked that big frame. Whispering, "You're enough." Always were. In the wreckage. We clung, love's fierce anchor. But anchors drag, and the storm was brewing. February's chill deepened the divides. Isaiah withdrew. Shifts doubling. Home only to crash. I pushed gently. Therapy pamphlets. LGBTQ meetups. Go alone, I said. Or with me. He nodded. But pride stung. Then betrayal struck from the unlikeliest source. TJ, buzzed at a site party, spilled to the crew. Isaiah's gone full rainbow. Banging his roommate. By morning, texts bombarded Isaiah. Laughing emojis masking venom. Knew you were a fag. Don't come back. Queer. He showed me. Face ashen. Lost the job. All of it. Rage boiled in me. For the cruelty. The casual hate. Screw them. We'll rebuild. But doubt crept into his eyes. What if they're right? What if I ruin you too? The fight reignited. Old wounds reopening. Ruin? This is life. Isaiah. Messy. Real. He shouted back. Real? Or your fantasy? You wanted this. Turn me. The accusation hit like a freight train. Turned? I loved you. Still do. But if you believe that, maybe you're the one who's homophobic. He stormed out. Again, this time for days. I drown in worry. Comic stalled. Shop shifts a blur. On day 3, a call. Hospital. Car accident. Slippery roads. He'd swerved into a guardrail. Broken ribs. Concussion. But alive. I raced there. Heart in throat. Finding him bandaged. Eyes haunted. TJ called. Said I deserved it. Karma for choosing wrong. Tears tracked his cheeks. Is it wrong? Eli, I climbed onto the bed. Careful of wires. No. It's us. The kiss was saline sweet. Vows unspoken. Discharge brought him home. Fragile. Pillows propped. Soup simmering. In convalescence. Trude surfaced. His teen emails to Rico. Experiments with a teammate in the locker room shadows. Buried under shame. Dad found out. Beat out of me. Literally. Scars. Literal and not. Mapped his torso. I traced them. Weeping. I'm sorry. He cupped my face. Don't. You saved me. Intimacy deepened. Not carnal. But soul-bearing. Shared journals. Playlists of queer anthems. Frank Ocean's Forrest Gump on repeat. The money loomed. And signed. What if I take it? He asked one night. Stars visible through frost-laced windows. For us. Start over. Hope flickered. Then sign. But climax crests unexpected. March equinox. A knock, his dad. Unannounced. Face thunderous. Heard about the crash. And the rest. Isaiah stiffened beside me on the couch. Dad, but the old man cut in. Eyes on me. You poisoned him. That devil's cashier idea. Venom dripped. And Isaiah surged up. No, it's mine. Rico's. And Eli? He's family. The slap echoed, his dad's hand cracking across Isaiah's cheek. Traitor. Chaos erupted, shouts. Shoves. Me pulling them apart. His dad stormed out. Hurling. You're dead to me. Door slammed. Final as a coffin lid. Isaiah sank. Cheek blooming red. I chose. I held him. But victory tasted Pyrrhic. Love won. But what cost? The slap's echo faded into a hush that blanketed our lives for weeks. The apartment a cocoon of convalescence and quiet defiance. Isaiah's cheek bruised purple. Then yellow. a map of fracture that mirrored the one inside. He signed the papers the next day, pinned steady in the lawyer's office downtown, me waiting in the hall, thumbing a dog-eared copy of Audre Lorde's essays, heart swelling with a mix of pride and terror. "It's done," he said, emerging, envelope crisp in his fist. $200,000. Wired pending taxes. A lifeline from a man who'd love from afar. Rico's ghost just bought us a future. We celebrated subdued. Take out ribs from Lem's on the south side. Toasting with root beer like kids. The city lights winking approval beyond the panes. But money mends roofs. Not rifts. Isaiah's dad went radio silent. No calls. No visits. Just a forwarded mail pile-up from Englewood. Bills. Catalogs. A single Christmas card unopened. Isaiah burned it in the sink one night. Flame dancing on cardstock. His face illuminated like a vigil. "Fuck him," he muttered. But tears betrayed the bluff. I wrapped arms around him from behind, chin on his shoulder. "Grieve it." Then let go. Grief came in waves, him staring at old voicemails, deleting one by one, me fielding calls from aunts, pleading neutrality. "He's happy. Tia." That's the truth. Spring thawed the streets, but not the chill between us and the world. Job hunt dragged. Isaiah's resumed blackballed by whispers. Mine stagnant at the shop. The windfall helped, paid off my mom's lingering medical debt. Seeded a joint account for us. We dreamed big over diner coffee. Him flipping houses in Uptown. Me pitching the comic to publishers. Elijah and Isaiah. Outlaws no more, he joked, sketching a logo on a napkin. Laughter healed, but scars itched, his literal ones from the accident. Mine from the doubts he'd voiced in anger. Then, the misunderstanding that nearly undid us. Mid-April, my comic launch party, a low-key reading at a Boys Town bookstore. Rainbow banners fluttering like flags of surrender. Isaiah came, tentative in chinos and a button-down, hand brushing mine under the table. The crowd was eclectic, queer artists, allies, a smattering of South Side familiar faces I'd invited for ballast. Readings flowed, poems of longing, essays on erasure, and when my turn came, I poured it out, the outlaw's betrayal. Redemption, the kiss under stars that echoed our rooftop almost moment. Applause thundered, but in the glow, I missed Isaiah's paling face. Backstage, he cornered me, voice low fury. That was us. Out there. For everyone. Pride deflated. Arch truth. Isaiah. You said publish it. He paced the storage room, stacked with bestsellers. Truth or exposure? TJ saw the flyer, texted me a screenshot. Knew it. Freak show. Betrayal twisted his features, not mine, but the world's intrusion. I thought we could hide. Build slow. I grabbed his arm. Hiding's what broke you. This is owning it. The argument spilled into the street. Rain slicked under street lamps. Voices rising over honks. You decided for both of us, he shouted. Paraded our shit like it's easy. Hurt lanced me. Easy? I lost friends too, family. But I chose love over fear. He recoiled. And if fear's all I have left, what then? He hailed a cab, vanishing into the downpour, leaving me soaked in more ways than one. Days blurred into standoff, him crashing at a motel on the inheritance dime, me dodging party aftermath, congrats mixed with pity texts. Heard about your man. Rough. TJ escalated, posting screeds on Facebook, South Side gone soft. Watch your backs. Boys. Isaiah's phone blew up, old ties severing like cut lines. On day 5, he showed at dawn, duffel in hand, eyes hollow. Can't do this. The money's yours, Rico meant well, but it's cursed. He dropped a check on the table and signed. I'm out. Panic surged. Out, like, gone. He nodded. Throat working. Need to fix me. Alone. The decision hung. A guillotine blade. You're not broken, I pleaded. We're just human. But he was already at the door, turning back once. I love you. Eli. That's the worst part. Gone. The apartment echoed empty. His boots absent from mat. His Irish spring fading from the bathroom. I cashed nothing. Tore up the check, symbolic. Futile. Sketches piled. Outlaws parted. One fading into desert dust. Work offered no solace. The shop's new manager. A straight-laced import from the suburbs. Side-eyed my dramas. Then, the call that shattered the silence. His dad. Voice slurred. From a bar stool. Your fault. Push him too far. He's crashing here. Says he hates what you made him. Lies. Or half-truths. He chose. Sir. Like you taught him to be brave. Brave. The word mocked as I hung up. Dialing Isaiah. Voicemail. Come home. We fight together. No reply. Desperation peaked. I drove to Englewood at midnight. Porch light flickering like a dying bulb. His dad answered. Shotgun casual in the hall. Bluff or threat. He's asleep. Go. But Isaiah appeared. Tousled. Eyes widening. Eli. We stepped onto the lawn. Dew cold underfoot. Stars indifferent above. What the hell, he whispered. Your dad's poison. And mine's missing you. Raw. Unfiltered. He glanced back at the door. Then pulled me behind the garage, childhood hideout. Graffiti scarred. I panicked. The party. The posts felt like drowning. Confession tumbled. Nights at the motel. Scrolling my comic online. Pride warring with shame. Calls to a hotline. Voice cracking on. I'm gay. Aren't I? But Dad. He said you'd ruin me. Offered to straighten me out with church. With force. Rage ignited. And you believed him? He deflated. For a minute. Then I remembered you, us. The forts. The curveballs. Rico's words. Truth sets you free. Me, Joe. Tears gleamed. I want free. With you. The kiss was cataclysmic. Under that sagging oak. Rain starting soft. Washing away the grime of doubt. Then come home, I murmured. He nodded, grabbing his bag from the porch, defiant. His dad's curses chasing us to the truck. The drive back was charged silence. Hands clasped over the gear shift. Dawn broke as we crossed the river. City awakening like a beast stirring. At the apartment, he signed the check anew for our empire, and we crashed together, exhaustion claiming us in tangled sheets. But empire building demands sacrifice. News spread. His coming out rippled through networks. Some allies emerging. Aunt Rosa, tearful, always knew. Bring him to Easter. Others severed. TJ's final text. Lost you, brother. Isaiah mourned, but stood taller. Summer bloomed tentative. First house hunt in Pilsen. A fixer-upper with potential like us. My comic hit shelves, small run. But reviews glowed. A heartfelt ode to chosen family. Launch 2. He held my hand openly. Chin high. The surprise windfall, seated renovations, gutted kitchen. Rainbow accents hidden in plain sight. But climax crested in July heat. Humidity thick as unresolved sin. His dad showed at the site, uninvited, gaunt in the merciless sun. Heard you're playing house. Isaiah. Hammer mid-swing. Froze. What do you want? The old man shifted, eyes darting to me, ladder in hand. This, a crumpled envelope, apology scrawled on drugstore cardstock. Lost my way. After your mom. Pardon me. Rico tried warning me. Voice cracked. Don't lose yours. Isaiah took it, trembling. Too late for sorry. His dad met his gaze. Never. If you let me try. The moment stretched, forgiveness a high wire. Isaiah glanced at me, and I nodded. Your call. He stepped forward, envelope clutched. Start with coffee. Sunday. A nod. Gruff. Deal. Handshake tentative. Then firm. Father to son. No qualifiers. His dad left. Dust settling. And Isaiah sagged against me. Holy shit. Laughter bubbled. Relief sweet as lake breeze. Autumn circled back. Leaves gold as second chances. We flipped the pills in house, sold for profit. Enough to fund the next. Isaiah apprenticed at a union shop. Out and unapologetic. I quit the shop for full-time art. Panels flowing like confessions. The $200,000? Invested wisely. Scholarship in Rico's name for queer youth on the South Side. First recipient, a kid with Isaiah's eyes. One October Eve, rooftop garden weed planted, Rico's tomatoes thriving. We stood close. City sprawl at our feet. Surprised? I teased, echoing the title of our chaos. He grinned, hand cupping my face. Every day. But the best kind. Foreheads touched. Sunset gilding us. And in that romantic hush, wind whispering secrets. Skyline eternal. I knew. We'd turn not just each other, but the hate into something human. Flawed. Fierce. Forever. Betrayals fade. Conflicts scar but strengthen. We chose love, not easy, never straight, but ours. And in America's messy heart. That's the real surprise. Survival. Side by side.